Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Cole, and the other members of the Rules Committee. I want to discuss the Senate Infrastructure Bill and what I believe is our shared goal to build back better. And the moment presents us with an opportunity to make some major changes and propel our economy into the next century. But the approach laid out in the Senate's Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act won't get us there on its own. And that's why it must be paired with the budget resolution, which together would lay the groundwork for transformational progress for the American people. Now, the Senate infrastructure bill before us will create new good-paying jobs to advance our recovery from COVID-19, makes useful investments in our electric grid and clean energy, and takes some necessary steps to improve the critical infrastructure that Americans rely on every day, including drinking water and broadband, which are in my committee. But unfortunately, it does not do nearly enough on its own to tackle the climate crisis, lower health care costs, or build a better future for American families, as envisioned by President Biden. And it undermines some of our most core environmental statutes, like the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, threatening to move us backward in our effort to fight climate change from that perspective. But combined with the promise of additional action through the budget reconciliation package, the infrastructure bill would move us forward. I think if I could just talk about some of the topics, Mr. Chairman. Clean, safe drinking water is a basic human right, yet right now up to 10 million American households can't trust the water coming out of their taps. And that's not acceptable, and I hope to accomplish more through the budget resolution. The $55 billion investment that the bipartisan infrastructure bill makes in clean water is a crucial first step, and it also includes some funding to replace lead service lines, but not enough. And it also has funding to remove toxic PFAS chemicals, but not enough. The Senate bill also includes funding for electric vehicle supply infrastructure. To be clear, this isn't close to the investment made by the House-passed INVEST Act, but again, it's a helpful first step. And right now, the U.S. market share of plug-in EV sales is only 1/3 the size of plug-in electric vehicle sales in China. So we have to do a better job of keeping pace with our competitors. I'm also glad to see funding to improve and repair our nation's electric grid, which is in urgent need of modernization. My colleague from Louisiana stressed that. The Senate infrastructure bill makes needed investments in hardening the electric grid against extreme weather events and gives the government new authority to spur the development of transmission projects and grid-enhancing technologies. The Senate bill has also $65 billion invested in broadband, and that marks the beginning of a renewed fight to close the digital divide and ensure that every community has access to reliable high-speed internet. But access to broadband is only half the battle. Being able to afford it is the other half, and I'm pleased the bill makes investments in affordability. While I do have real concerns over the changes that the bill would make to decrease the monthly benefit, it does make permanent our affordability program that we set forth earlier this year, and that's clearly progress because of the families struggling to access and afford a basic internet connection. I want to say also I'm troubled that this bill gives the Department of Defense the ability to scuttle the spectrum auctions that the FCC would put forward. That's bad policy, and it decreases the value of the auction unnecessarily. You know, as you can tell, Mr. Chairman, I'll just conclude by saying this bill is far from perfect, and I believe we can and must do more. I look forward to working with my colleagues on the budget resolution to finish the job, but I think together we can make good on President Biden's Build Back Better agenda if we combine the Senate infrastructure bill with the budget resolution and the reconciliation that would follow. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and would certainly take any questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.